Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajapachaya Ashtaparashata Sri Srimad Bhakti Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the humble devotees, all glories to the humble devotees, all glories to the humble devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, 7th Canto, The Science of God, Chapter 9. Prahlad pacifies the Lord with prayers, text 30. Ekas Tvam Eva Jagad Etam Namusya Yat Tvam Adyantayaho Pritag Avasyasi Madhyatash Cha Shishtva Guna Vyatikaram Nija Maya Edam Naneva Tire Evasitas Tad Anupravishtata Ekastam eva jagat etam amushayatvam Adyantayo pritag avasyasi madhyatascha Shishtva guna vitakaram nijamaya yedam Nanevatar avisitas tad anupravishtaha Ekastam eva jagat etam amushayatvam Adyantayo pritig avayasi madhyatascha. Shishtva guna vitakaran nijamaya yedam. Nane vatar avisitas tadanu pravishtaha. Ekastameva jagaretamamushya yatvam. Adyantayo pritigavasyasi madhyatascha. Shishva guna vitakaran nijamaya yedam. Nane vatar avisitas tadanu pravishtaha.
Ekastam eva jagadetam amushya yatvam. Adi antayo pritag avasyasi madhyatascha. Shristva guna vyatikaram nijamaya yedam. Nanevatair avasitas tad anupravishtaha.
Ekaha. One. Tvam, you. Eva, only. Jagat, the cosmic manifestation. Etam, this. Amushya, of that. The whole universe. Yet, since Tvam, you, Adi, in the beginning, Antayaha, at the end, Pritak, separately, Avasyasi, exist as the cause, Madhyataha cha, also in the middle, the duration between the beginning and end. Shishtva, creating. Guna Vatikaran, the transformation of the three modes of material nature. Nijamaya, by your own external energy. Idam, this. Nana eva, like many varieties. Tai, by them, the modes. Avasitaha, experienced. Tat, that. Anupravishtaha, entering into. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. My dear Lord, you alone manifest yourself as the entire cosmic manifestation, for you existed before the creation. You exist after the annihilation, and you are the maintainer between the beginning and the end. All this is done by your external energy, through actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. Therefore, whatever exists, externally and internally, is you alone. Purport. As stated in Brahma Samhita 535, Ekyopisarachayitam Jagananda Kotim Yachakjir Asti Jagaranda Chayayarantaha Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govindamari Pusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the personality of Godhead, Govinda, who, by one of his plenary portions, enters the existence of every universe and every atomic particle, and thus unlimitedly manifests his infinite energy all over the material creation. To create this cosmic manifestation, Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, expands his external energy and thus enters everything in the universe, including the atomic particles. In this way, he exists in the entire cosmic manifestation. Therefore, the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in maintaining his devotees are transcendental, not material. He exists in everything as the cause and effect, yet he is separate, existing beyond this cosmic manifestation. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.4. Mayam tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktimurtina bhatstani sarva bhutani dachaham tvesha vastataha. The entire cosmic manifestation is but an expansion of the Lord's energy. Everything rests in him. Yet he exists separately beyond creation, maintenance, and annihilation. The varieties of creation are performed by his external energy. Because the energy and energetic are one, everything is one. Sarvam kalam idam brahma. Therefore, without Krishna, the Parabrahman, nothing can exist. The difference between the material and spiritual worlds is that his external energy is manifested in the material world, whereas his spiritual energy exists in the spiritual world. Both energies, however, belong to the Supreme Lord. And therefore, in a higher sense, there's no exhibition of material energy, because everything is spiritual energy. The energy in which the Lord's all-pervasiveness is not realized is called material. Otherwise, everything is spiritual. Therefore, Prahlad prays, Ekas tvam eva jagat etam. You are everything. Om Gyanati Vedandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshuvan Maditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitavachalam Pangam Langate Grim Yakipatam Maham Bande Shri Gurun Deditadanam Bancha Gopdre Bishta Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right, translation again. My dear Lord, you alone manifest yourself as the entire cosmic manifestation, for you existed before the creation, you exist after the annihilation, and you are the maintainer between the beginning and the end. All this is done by your external energy through actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. Therefore, whatever exists, externally and internally, is you alone. Why is that bird making so much noise? Does anyone know? He's crying for something, right? Some devotees, when they talk about kirtan, they because there's different reasons we do kirtan. Of course, the main reason we should do kirtan is for the pleasure of Krishna and the pleasure of the devotees. But I mean, as anything could be mixed in this world, sometimes the reason why people perform kirtan is for mixed purposes. So, anyways, some devotees they bring up, which I thought I never heard before, but I thought was quite a kind of a amusing thing. They bring up, like when cats, for example, sometimes cats they're like in I don't know if there's like a mating season for cats, but I don't think so. No, it's always a mating season for cats. I hope it's not any past life regression stuff going on. I'm just joking.
I'll tell you a quick story. My niece really loves going.
All right, well, here we go. It's being broadcasted, by the way.
I don't know. It's not really pertinent. Never mind.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe you could tell us afterwards.
Sure.
So, but apparently when they're, I guess what they call animals, they have like what is called like heat. They're in heat. I don't know, for whatever reason they call it that. I'm not sure why they call it that, but when cats are in heat, it's they kind of make this. They make a noise. The cats make a noise, kind of calling the mate or whatever. So devotees they bring up that kirtan shouldn't be like that. That it's kind of calling out, but calling like a mate. Anyways, I was just thinking about that here in the bird, but it has nothing to do with this verse or purport. So yeah, there's many statements found in Srila Prabhupada's books that people, not everyone, but a lot of people they upon hearing it, they just wouldn't like. They think this is terrible. This is, they just wouldn't like it. I remember some years ago, I brought this up before, but anyways, I gave a book to one girl. I was distributing books, shop to shop down there in National City, and we went by this Mexican food place. We didn't get any Mexican food there, but we went to this Mexican food. We were distributing books, so she was working there, and I gave her a book. She bought a book. She gave a donation. And then she showed up at the temple. And then, she was there. She showed up at the temple, and she attended the Sunday feast or whatever. And then I didn't see her for some time, and I think I saw her in that area again, or maybe I saw her at the temple again. But I asked her how she liked the books, and she related to me that she didn't like how Srila Prabhupada referred to people as like animals. She didn't like that. Because Prabhupada would say, well, the Bhagavatam says, right? Hogs, dogs, camels, asses or donkeys, right? Or Krishna himself in the 10th canto, he says that if you identify with the land you're born in, or your body, or kinsmen, and what else? Oh yeah, you go to a holy place just to bathe, then you're considered to be Gokaraha, a donkey, or a cow, right? So, like an animal. So, anyways, in this way, you'll see in Srila Prabhupada's books and in the verses themselves, but also in Srila Prabhupada's purports, he mentions this often. that there's a difference between us and the animals, and we should utilize that human potential to inquire into the absolute truth, to become God conscious, to become Krishna conscious. And then he would say that, and if you don't do this, then you're an animal. And then he goes into explaining how people who do not do this are animals. And in that purport, where hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, Prabhupada goes into details how people are like that, how people are like camels, how people are like hogs, how people are like dogs. There's a description about that. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, for example, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he calls them the camel-like non-devotees. So in this way, there's all types of these statements. I mean, we can't get around them when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, when we hear. So yeah, people they don't like this. But in many ways, if we think about it deeply, and maybe not even so deeply, we could see actually how people are like that more and more over time. Reading that purport, hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, and Prabhupada explaining that, we could see how people are like that. In other words, Prabhupada's not exaggerating. And I think that sometimes. Like, okay, Prabhupada's not exaggerating here. But nonetheless, yeah, some people, they don't like it. Now, of course, that's some people. Some people, when they read such things, they think, wow, I'm glad somebody's saying something that's true. I'm glad somebody's, telling it like it is. And they read Srila Prabhupada's books, and it's refreshing to them. And in many ways, in this age of Kali, okay, you have the 4 legs of religion: mercy, truthfulness, what else? Cleanliness and austerity. But they're all. It says that actually 3 of them are gone. The one that's wobbling is truthfulness. And sometimes people, they think, oh, really? Is it wobbling or is it gone? But they say it's wobbling. But a lot of people, they actually appreciate more and more and more these days when you just tell them the truth. Why? Because they're sick of being lied to. Everybody's lying to them. What is the whole advertisement industry? You go to a grocery store, you walk down the aisle, and it says there's some junk food there. I mean, it's real junk. And it says natural, or energizing, or whatever. They just kind of throw out these words, but it's anything but that. It's not natural, it's not energizing, and it's not. So the whole advertisement energy, the whole industry, the whole world, every sphere of society, or every different circles, academic circles, scientific circles, political circles, there's a bunch of lying going on. So if someone just tells them the truth, people appreciate that. But yeah, again, some people don't like the statements. Now, in relation to today's, one statement that a lot of people would like is that this statement where Prahlad Maharaj says that, oh, you are everything. He's praying to Nrsimhadev and says, you are everything. In other words, you, God, are everything. People like that statement. They go, all right, cool, right? Everything's God. Now, for some of the younger devotees, why do you think people would like that statement? That, oh, God is everything. What do you think, Sankarshan? Yeah, that's a good, that if everything's God, that means I'm also God, and that means I don't have anyone to bow down to. Okay. Any other ideas? You had something? Similar. Yeah.
Generally, that's a license to gratify your senses, then you don't have to follow any rules.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to follow any rules, you don't have to follow any regulations. You don't have to answer to anybody. There's no consequences for your actions. You could just do whatever. I mean, it's amazing how much punishment and how much law controls people, actually. If there was no punishment and there was no law in human society, oh my, like what would happen? Yeah, law of the jungle. I mean, people, they try to do stuff avoiding the law. Means they do stuff illegally. And they're hoping they don't get caught. But imagine if they could just do stuff legally, how much they would push. And even, yeah, I mean, they try to push things, you know, as time goes on. More weirder and weirder things. Trying to make things normal. So yeah, that's one reason people like it. That if everything's God, or if you are everything, that means I'm also God, and that means I could do whatever I want, and I don't have anyone to listen to. There's no consequences for my actions. But yeah, ultimately it doesn't. It means that I could really surrender to anything. I could surrender to surfing, right? All right. God's everything, so he's also surfing. So I could just surrender to surfing. Just go enjoy the waves and the sun and, yeah, have a good time. Or I could find God anywhere. I could find God in Disneyland. I could find God in Legoland, right? I could, so yeah, people think that, oh, okay, this is great. I could find God anywhere. But you're definitely not going to find God in Disneyland. You'll find everything else there. You're not going to find God in Legoland. Why? This is funny to you, huh?
That's where you first started looking for him.
And you may not find God in Vrindavan. You know, Vrindavan. There's actually one devotee. He would do traveling Sankirtan, and he had a van, so they called it Vrindavan. So, or the devotees say, oh, you can't find Krishna in Loy Bazaar. Means, you know, shopping down in that, you know. So when people think like this, that okay, when they misunderstand Prahlad Maharaja's statements or the statements of the Bhagavatam that say, oh, God is everything, and then they start looking for God, or they start surrendering to anything and everything, then they actually fail to become God realized. If they're looking for God in Disneyland or Legoland or here or there, even Vrindavan. I mean, if people think like this, even living in Vrindavan, they're not going to find Krishna there. They think, oh, everything's God, so I'll just kind of enjoy my senses, or I'll just enjoy whatever. I won't listen to I have no one to answer to. So the idea is that yes, everything is God, but simultaneously, God's a person. There is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all of us and everything in this creation it's all coming from God. So in a sense, it's God, but ultimately, there's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's not that we just surrender to anything and everything, and that's equal to surrendering to Krishna. It's not equal at all. And aside from that, we will get completely opposite results. If you surrender to Krishna versus surrendering to whatever else, it's a completely opposite result. Like, it could be an extremely opposite result. So So yeah, it's important to keep these things in mind and not. It's important to keep these things in mind and to use our intelligence to try to understand what is divine, which is, it's a bit of a different point, but what is divine and what is demoniac, or what is helpful for Krishna consciousness and what is harmful for our Krishna consciousness. Not just to accept everything as one. There are different results for different activities. So does anybody have any question or comment? Yes, Jivita Prabhu.
Just one point. I think what you were describing there, the one that everything is one, but you have to get the other side.
Yeah, maybe you could tell him he could go out or something. I don't know. He's talking.
Yeah. Achintya?
Yeah.
Beta.
Yeah.
So you can emphasize either one of those in Maya. If
Yes.
you think, a beta, everything is non-different from Krishna. I can worship anything. But then you have the beta, which is separate, and that's like Mayavadi thing. None of this is God. God is the impersonal Brahman. He's separate from all of this.
Yeah.
So to understand the balance there, that everything is simultaneously one and different, and then to live in that, and that's taught by the process of bhakti.
Yeah.
One and different.
Yeah. Yeah, therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's, Achintya Beta Tattva, simultaneously, inconceivably, one and different. And as Dravida Prabhu's mentioned, if you stress the oneness, then you're definitely in Maya. Right? Or just, because everything's God, because it's like, you forget Krishna in that way. But if you stress the difference, that's also a problem, because it's a problem that people have had in religious history. They think, the world's just like, it's just like demon. Everything's just demon. It's all evil. The sun's evil. The wind's evil. It's all bad, especially the monks, right? Especially women. They're like, it's been a problem in religious history, but actually, the idea is to see how things are connected to Krishna, right? The sun, the wind, the men, women, the whole creation, it's all intimately connected with Krishna. And that's how a devotee sees, actually. That's how they're supposed to see. That's how they see. Like Srila Prabhupada would give the example, a mother, out of affection, when she sees her son's shoe, although he may be grown up or whatever, she sees her son's baby shoe, and she thinks, oh, my son, and her heart expands, right? Oh, my son. She's thinking of her son. So Srila Prabhupada said that when a devotee sees a tree, or a devotee sees anything, this is the energy of Krishna. This is coming from Krishna, and they think about Krishna. And in very advanced stage, like Madhavendra Puri, one of our great acharyas, he says he would look at a cloud, and he would see blackish, bluish rain cloud, and then he would remember Krishna, and he would just be in complete ecstasy. Or you have that example of that devotee, he was fanning. I don't know if it was Mukunda, but a devotee was. He saw a peacock feather, and he just went into complete ecstasy. So the idea is to try to think about Krishna so much, or be so Krishna conscious, that whatever we see reminds us of Krishna, not that we see things separately. So that's important also. Does anybody have any other? Yes, Vaishnava.
Going back to the verse at the end, it says, "Therefore, whatever exists externally and internally is you alone." Is that external, internal from Krishna's point of view, or to us, or is it something completely different?
Does anybody have any ideas about that?
This is at the end of the purport?
Yes.
End of the verse.
End of verse, yeah.
Yeah. All this is done by your external energy through actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. Therefore, whatever exists externally and internally is you alone. Well, I mean, just like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that a devotee looks and whatever he sees, moving or non-moving. He doesn't see that, but he sees Krishna, means like he's so Krishna conscious. So when we think about moving and non-moving, that pretty much covers everything, right? Because there's moving, right? And then there's non-moving, covers everything. So similarly, when we say, okay, externally and internally, means everything. Yeah.
Thank you. An excellent class. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Aviral.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So my question is like related to like prayers of Prahlad, like or like at the time of death, a lot of devotees like they show the picture of Nrsimhadev to the person who is dying. So like I was just curious that if that like at the time of death, if they are remembering Nrsimhadev, will they go to Goloka or Nrsimhaloka?
Well, I guess it depends on their what they have a saying, right? Ishtadev, like who is your worshipable Lord. So if one is attached to Shamasundar Krishna, then they'll go to Krishna. And if they're attached to another particular form and they worship that form, then they'll go there, like Ramchandra or just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would see Lord Jagannath, and it's not that Lord Jagannath looks a particular way, which is different than you could say, it's different than how Shamasundar Krishna looks. But who would Chaitanya Mahaprabhu see? He would see Shamasundar. He'd see Krishna there, means how he's generally seen. So even if one may be looking at Lord Nrsimhadev, if they're if they're ultimately attached to Krishna, they're seeing Krishna there. But still, there's planet, like for example, if you look at the Bhagavatam, the first canto, the cover, there's different lokas, one Sri Nrsimha Loka, and different lokas there. And as far as I remember, there was in that book by Rupa Goswami, it's called Lagu Bhagavatamrita, devotees explain that I remember hearing how when someone goes to these particular lokas, they see anyways, I guess it doesn't really relate, so it's okay. Yeah, Dvijamani, you had...
Thank you, Bhavan, for a nice lecture. I'm just wondering this question. You know how in our tradition we can see the advancement of a devotee in different categories, Kanishtarika, Madhya. But then if it comes to like Mayavadis, is there a particular way to see the advancement? Maybe it's by the ashram, the Mayavad philosophy, the Mayavad practitioners. Is there any judgment you can make by?
Well, most of the Mayavadis of today, they're not real Mayavadis. Actually, if you want to be a real Mayavadi, you have to take sannyas, or else you're not really you're not really considered a real Mayavadi. You can't really be successful. Now, a lot of the times, what goes on today is what you could say is like neo-Mayavadism. They write books, how we're all one. They do whatever. There's not a real serious practice. But the real Mayavadis, like Prakashananda Saraswati, not Thakur, but Prakashananda Saraswati, they were engaging in severe austerities, meditation, study of Vedanta, serious endeavors. But yeah, I mean, in terms of them, their advancement, we would say they're not advanced because they have the wrong understanding. But still, nonetheless, Prabhupada would say that if one sees a Mayavadi sannyasi, you should still offer obeisances, interesting enough, because you're offering respect for the principle of renunciation, because they actually are renounced. But of course, they have the wrong idea. So, but you don't have to try to detect any advanced Mayavadis. Just try to detect the advanced Vaishnavas and then associate with them. Whether they're advanced Mayavadis or Neo-Mayavadis or whatever Mayavadis, Sannyas Mayavadis or whatever, the stress is given just to avoid them. They're actually in the category of people we avoid.
Yeah, I think one of the ways by which Mayavadis measure each other is that how much liberated they are. And
Well, we
second,
say they're not liberated at all. Anyways.
like the level, it maybe not be 100%, like maybe if one is 20% liberated, another is 25%. And second way they measure each other is that how much they know, like knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge.
Just that two things. Yeah. That's what I know of.
We say they're offenders, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says they're offenders. They're offenders to Krishna. So therefore they should be avoided, because they tried to, their whole philosophy is just based on trying to disprove the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the personal form. He has no eyes, he has no arms, he has no legs, he doesn't play a flute. They say that, oh, Mother Yashoda and Krishna, that whole relationship, it's all just Maya, everything's Maya, for Mayavadi. So yeah, we really don't give them any attention because they're offenders. And we try to, we avoid them. Yes.
So someone who's Krishna conscious can kind of see any situation and draw examples, like, Prabhupada would there's some pastime where there was like some bird stool, and he like even related to that, or like the water that was frozen. But I know that like some people interpret the Bhagavad Gita and they draw these kind of weird examples where like the senses and the Kauravas represent this and all that. And I recently heard some devotees saying, I don't remember, like the way Mother Kunti served the devotee, her sons, was like serving the spiritual master. I don't know, like where can you, like what's allowed, especially in reference to like Shastra, I guess, where you draw references. And
All right, thank you. Yeah, so most of what we read in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other books we accept as literal. There are some, like you have in the 4th canto, that whole Puranjana story. And then in other places you also have, like in the 5th canto also, you have the forest of enjoyment, or the material world. It's some people say it's literal, but it's but yeah, we do have to be careful about that, because one of the things in Krishna consciousness that we try to avoid is the tendency to speculate or to draw our own conclusions. So in relation to in relation to Kunti and serving her sons, and that being like a relationship with the spiritual master, or whatever it may be, trying to expand on different things. The safe road is to repeat what we've heard from Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas. If they've drawn such conclusions, then we repeat them. Or otherwise, it's not really necessary. There's so much there. Like in the 10th canto, you have the commentaries of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. There's so much there to talk about. Or Srila Prabhupada, all of his purports. There's so much there to talk about. I don't think there's much need to try to kind of twist something out, based on our own intelligence, really.
One final comment. I know this isn't what you want to remember from the class, but I did a little research in heat.
Important.
You're in my bailiwick, they call it, you know. What does it mean? So, the dictionary, zoology. This is heat. Sexual receptiveness in animals, especially females. B, the period or duration of such receptiveness to be in heat. Now that brought to mind a passage from Krishna book. Did you remember it? The autumn, rainy season in autumn, chapter 20, remember? And I researched that too. And Prabhupada says, on the arrival of the autumn season, all the cows, deer, birds, and females in general become pregnant. Because in that season, all the husbands generally become impelled by sex desire. So it's not said exactly here, but that means they're also more receptive. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to remember that or not, but that's...
Hare Krishna?
Oh, yes, sir. Please give your question and answer.
Balaram Prabhu, thank you very much. You're most kind. Dandavat pranams. Prabhu, do you mind reciting again the last sentence of the translation?
Therefore, whatever exists externally and internally is you alone.
Yes, that is the sentence. And based on this sentence, my question is, how do you... and this is Prahlad Maharaj praying to Lord Nrsimhadev and declaring that the only one who exists is Krishna. So, based on this, my question is, how do you explain that you exist and I exist? Because he's saying here, whatever exists externally and internally is you alone. What about my own existence? What about your own existence? How do you explain it?
Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what's that shloka? Yeah, Maivangshojo Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That all living entities, they're my part and parcels, and they're all struggling very hard with the senses, which include the mind, the six senses include the mind. So we're part and parcel of Krishna. But as we were mentioning in the class, discussing that we are simultaneously, inconceivably one and different from Krishna. So in that way, so yeah, I think you should just meditate on that.
Yes, I'll do that. I will meditate on that. Thank you very much. You're most kind.
5 seconds. Bahunam janmanam mante jnanavamam prapadyante
Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samahatma Sadulabha.
So many births and deaths, those who are really wise understand, surrender unto me, and they don't know that Vasudev is everything.
Yes, thank you.
Just as Prahlad says. And that's one and different.
Yes.
That's the idea. Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.